Get a cup, get a cup, get a cup. Hello, hello, welcome back to another video of Fresh Cut Slim. And today, we're looking at tipping culture by degenerosity. This is from a couple years ago, but tipping culture is only getting worse. I literally saw yesterday that the TSA is asking for tips. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the government shutdown, which is now over, I believe. But either way, are you out of your mind? Yeah, I'm gonna tip you for freaking touching my pee-pee. Thanks. Anyway, whatever, with that being said, let's begin. The original link's in the description. I'ma tip you for touching my tip.
Tipping, a generous act of courtesy you do when you're more than satisfied with the service you were provided, and you give them a little extra money. Usually you give these to your servers at restaurants, your barber, and strippers, just as a way of telling them you're doing a good job. Go get yourself a nice pair of undies. And this overall thing is practiced all around the world. It's not exactly a foreign concept for anybody.
And it's not, it isn't all around the world. It's mainly North America. And maybe, I haven't been everywhere, all right? So I can't say that. But I know that certain European countries don't do it. And a lot of, like Norway, Sweden, those countries don't do it. At least for the most part. So it's not everywhere.
Tipping is a normal thing, but no place on earth lets it give out the tip more than the US of A. We go eggs.
What kind of Pokemon was, what the frick, what kind of what was that, what was Pokemon, what were they doing there?
Games mode with the tipping over here, cause we be giving everybody tips. We tip our delivery drivers, taxis, bellhops, housekeeping, house movers, bartenders. If you're an in-person service, then most likely you accept tips. Even my homie's last job at the gas station, where he just pumped people's gas, he got over $100 in tips in one day.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That plus your wage, that's all right. Not great, but I mean, if you didn't get the tips, you'd probably just want to off yourself. $100 in tips is crazy. But yeah, no, it's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. You got a tip for this, you got a tip for that. Oh, it's like going to Subway and them asking for tips. Oh, and McDonald's, I'm surprised McDonald's hasn't started asking for tips yet. At least I haven't seen it. Maybe they do. I don't really go there that often. But when that happens, there needs to be a revolution.
I didn't even know people tip for that. We love to tip everybody except the homeless. But has it gone too far? Let me go off real quick. But I've been seeing tipping options where I've never seen them before. Like counter services, cashiers. I've never heard of tipping cashiers, but those blue blocks on the iPad beg to differ. One time I went to a
And the craziest thing is that if the cashier did a good job and you do tip them, it probably doesn't go directly to them, but it probably goes into a pot and then it's divided between everyone. Because that's how a lot of restaurants work it as. So even if your waiters are good, they're probably not even going to get the money you gave them.
Concert, and I went to the merch booth. I got a hoodie, bro handed me the hoodie, then turned around his iPad for a tip. Now I know these people don't get paid.
Yo, you just paid like $80 for a hoodie and now you want a tip?
Too well, but what in that interaction concurred a tip? Did he slip me a $100 bill in a hoodie that I didn't see? I don't think so. So nah, I don't think I'm gonna tip. But I would usually see these in local businesses most of the time, so that's all fine and dandy. I've heard Starbucks is also doing tips. Now I don't really go to Starbucks because it's just not for me.
The coffee's expensive enough as it is. Now you want tip?
I like my coffee a certain way. I like my coffee how I like my men. Long, black, and Vietnamese. And no offense to you Starbucks employees out there, but I'ma treat y'all like McDonald's and Burger King. Like, why would I tip the drive-thru cashier? That just sounds unnecessary. And as long as those restaurants are not asking for tips, then I'm never gonna tip. Don't get no ideas, please.
And the drive-thru cashier isn't even the one. The drive-thru cashier isn't even the one who took your order or made it.
However, I understand why these workers would want a tip, though. They work low-wage jobs, and sometimes they got families to take care of at home. So a tip or two would make their lives a little bit easier.
Tips are ways that corporations have pawned off the responsibility of paying people like livable wages. They've pawned that responsibility off onto the customers. Instead of just paying out of, some of their profits, it's now the customer's responsibility to make sure that these employees can feed their family. This does not seem right.
But I'm selfish. I'm not trying to tip at Wendy's, bro. But I know that day will eventually come. I can smell it. This is the US. We'll somehow incorporate tipping into everything, so the employers can justify why they're paying their employees minimum wage.
Exactly.
And whenever someone doesn't tip, they get mad at us instead of the business that's giving them a non-living wage. That's why tipping is super pushed. So restaurants, for example, can pay their waiters low salaries to encourage them to aim for tips. So the waiters have to be as upstanding, top of their tippy toes, holly jolly of a worker as possible to try to get ends meet.
You'll notice this a lot with when if you go to a restaurant, let's say you have a lady server, a lot of them will be very kind and almost flirtatious with you. And that is because they're working for tips. Not that they like you. It's not because they like you. And I know, I 100% know they do that on purpose. They almost are a little flirty, you know, because they can make so much money off of that. Don't get it twisted, boys.
So the customer can walk away feeling happy about their experience, the owner of the restaurant being happy because of the profit and good look of the business, while the waiters walk away with a $2 tip and food stamps for a salary. Or at least that's just my theory, my game theory. Now people that have never had a job might say, ain't that a good thing? It makes the waiters actually try to do their job well, bro. Ain't nobody want.
I gotta use that SpongeBob face as a thumbnail. That perfectly summarizes my reaction to tipping culture.
To work minimum wage, period, bro, in this economy. Doesn't matter if I'm getting tips. All it takes is one bad day of penny pinching tips to be like, well, Scoob, I guess we have to eat whatever's in the fridge tonight. I should know. I used to be a waiter. I was a waiter for weddings and other events in my late senior year, and my wage was decent, 15 an hour, and for a high school student.
That's not bad, and I assume that's from, you know, this video itself is from 2 years ago. And he's probably talking about a time which was probably a few years before that. That's pretty decent for way back then. And tips on top of that?
That's pretty good. Plus, I only worked on the weekends. Man, this job was gonna be a breeze. But that was only because I was a kid. I ain't need that much in the first place. All I thought is, if I can afford food, sold. But to spoil the fun, most of the time, I did not get any tips or very little tips. In 95.
Did he say he was a waiter for like catering? Yeah, I've never tipped a catering waiter.
5% of my gigs was at weddings, so the food was already paid for. I was giving these niggas free food, and I got nothing. And I was always all nice and shit. I was never mean. I was all like, hello, hot diggity day. What would you lovely people like to have? I thought I was doing a good job. I even shaved off my hair to be more presentable, which is something I still regret to this day.
What kind of haircut did that kid get? He got that freaking, that 45-year-old uncle look.
Don't cut the hair you love for no jobs. Unless it look like this. You might get no job with that. I did get tips sometimes. The biggest tip I've ever gotten was $40 from a table of old white women and a gay dude. And from then on, they became my target audience. I'd always pick the table with the gay niggas, because I know they'd give me the biggest tip.
Is that an innuendo? They're going to give you the biggest tip because they want you to give you an even bigger tip?
And me complaining about small tips might sound like a trivial problem, but I'm talking about like in the grand scheme of things of this kind of job. Like if I was an adult with this job paying bills, taxes, rent, all that, I could not live like this. I know this because I had coworkers in their late 20s, 30s, 40s who said they couldn't take care of themselves with this wage.
That makes sense. Like $15 an hour, you can't really, I don't think you can get by on that. And at the same time, if you are making that, are you trying to fix your situation? Obviously everyone's situation is different, right? But it's like complaining about something is never gonna fix it. So it has to be the decisions that you make that kind of will help lead to a better outcome.
That's why they sold drugs on the side. That's why we should hold these businesses accountable to have higher wages for their employees.
I also do agree with that. Like employers are just not paying enough. And how do you fix that? Well, you're either constantly raising minimum wage or people just like leave and then the employer has to raise their wage in order to get someone to come back. But like when I don't know, it's a friggin' circle. It really is a big circle. You raise the minimum wage, all of a sudden employers raise prices of foods and then minimum wage isn't enough. And then it's a back and forth,
So they don't have to rely on tips anymore. We must rise against this corrupt business practice. Who's with me?
Huzzah!
Hey, you're just saying this because you just don't want to pay tips no more.
True.
Well, duh. I don't like tipping. Who does? Who wants to pay more of their own money when they don't have to? I'm not a misogynist, a masochist. Wrong word. I am the other one. I'm not saying I don't tip. I do. But mainly because I want to at least try to balance out my good deeds with my bad ones when I'm in the pearly gates.
Attempted genocide? Oh my word! You're gonna have to tip a little bit extra, I think. I hate tipping. I absolutely hate it, and I only do it now and then if I go to like a sit-down restaurant. Like I'm not tipping at like a McDonald's or a Subway. What the frick was I gonna say? And if I do go to a sit down restaurant, I tip based off the service. Like if I get a drink and the drink is like bottomless, like if I get a Coke and then all of a sudden, you know, I want that thing to be filled. So if the waiter's not coming back and like if I drank it all and it's just sitting there for like 20 minutes without someone coming back and filling it back up, that's less of a tip, right? Like I'm paying for the service.
I'm not trying to go to hell because I didn't tip my IHOP waitress who so happened to be battling cancer and diabetes that one time. I'm trying to get to heaven. But if I gave zero, darns, dangs, or I would almost never tip. I would look at the bill, then pay the bill, then end it there. I would only tip if I received outstanding service, because, you know, most services nowadays are just average, you know, regular stuff, nothing to point out. But you still supposed to tip. In a perfect world, I would only tip if the person is enthusiastically nice. Fast service, give me a back massage, and also pay for my food. Then I would tip. I can understand.
I mean, that's a bit much, but like I'm just saying, I tip based off of the quality of the service. Like, yeah, if you get the food out fast, obviously you're not the one cooking the food. I can't expect you to be the one who's the chef as well, but if you're hustling, you're keeping my drinks full if they are bottomless, you know, you're doing all that, then I'm fine giving you a nice tip. But if you're just like in a bad mood, you know, you're not really coming to the table, you're doing other things, you're flirting with other waitresses or whatever you're doing, because I literally had that experience like a week or two ago. Our waiter was like flirting with someone else. I'm like, we're over here waiting. Oh my gosh.
Then tipping delivery drivers because they also need the money to pay for their gas, but that can go with the higher wage argument that I said earlier. And if they show up mad late, then I don't have to tip them. We should bring back the 30 minutes or less or the food is free rule. I'd start ordering food from Russia on purpose. Save myself a stack. And like I said earlier, I know these people need these tips to survive. I know they have mouths to feed. I know. I feel you. But in the back of my mind, I know I have mouths to feed too. My own mouth. And tipping is slowly taking that away from me. Now I'm gonna starve.
I think if you're ordering like takeout, delivery. If you're ordering delivery, I think you should save a tip for the driver, for sure. If you can't afford to do it, you shouldn't be doing it, right? That's just basic logic. If you can't afford to be tipping them, you probably shouldn't be ordering delivery. But like, obviously, don't tip if you're at a Subway. I have a vendetta against Subway tipping because I had such a bad experience once, and now it's like, I freaking hate the fact that I gave them a tip, and then they charged me extra for something that I thought I was getting for free.
Remember earlier when I said tipping is not a foreign concept? Well, apparently it is to most countries.
That's what I'm saying.
Every time I look in the comment section for a post regarding tipping, 90% of the comments will be from foreigners saying, well, over here in Timbuktu, Jumanji land, we never even heard of tipping. I didn't even know Jumanji was a real place, but it sounds like heaven if they don't tip. And it makes me think the people of the U.S. here are purposely fucking me with this tipping shit. It's to be expected we tip 20 to 25% of the bill here.
They used to do 10%. It used to be 10% was the standard, and now it's gone up to 20%, to 25%, because employers aren't like keeping up with inflation.
You have a better chance pulling a gun on me and robbing me because that's the only way you're gonna get that much money out of me. And I've been seeing news reports
He's like full on crashing out
about how there's a spread of self-checkout machines with tipping options. Who the hell am I tipping? Mr. and Mrs. Walmart themselves? Why they need my money? Why they need a tip? Any self-checkout tipping machine out there could suck the tip of my pee-pee. That's what you could do. And like I said,
yeah, you give me that. You do that, I'll give you a tip.
Earlier, I do tip my delivery drivers and waiters. I do. But I hate tipping. I bloody hate it. If I could abolish it, I would. I hate it. However, I know it's the right thing to do. Or at least I was raised to believe if I don't tip my waiters, I'm a which I don't really believe now, but I begrudgingly admit tipping won't kill me, so I still tip. How much I tip? None of your beeswax. And even though I tip most of the time, I'm not gonna tell y'all you should tip. You could do whatever you want with the...
I think you should only tip if it's like, if you're at a sit-down restaurant or if it's a delivery driver. Other than that, no. You should, we need people, if everyone collectively said no to tipping, it would force employers probably to raise their wages because people would start quitting in mass. And that would be a good thing. You know, if everyone just quit in mass and these employers are like, oh crap, all of a sudden I can't rely on the customer to make up the difference for a fair wage, then the employers have to raise, you know, their wages. All of a sudden, if McDonald's started paying people $25 an hour, everyone's going to want to work at McDonald's. There's be no, you know, everyone's going to want to work there. So clearly that would fix the problem.
The money you've earned. Like, I could be spending my money on helping the children in Africa and building houses there. But...
And V-Bucks.
How else am I supposed to pay for my drip? I need money for my clothes, man. Those kids in Africa, they're not gonna pay for me. But yeah, those are my thoughts on tipping. Employees need better pay, so I can stop paying. And in conclusion,
Elements of surprise. Did you pray today?
This is such a funny video. I loved it. But yeah, I hate tipping. Only tip delivery and like waiters. That's it. People just need to stand up and stop tipping. We need, like, if every other country that, you know, isn't North America can figure it out, I'm sure we can. But with that being said, hopefully you guys like this. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Degenerosity. If you're new, subscribe as well. And I'll see you guys next time.